Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today we are live again, something you're going to start seeing more of, these live episodes, and we're super excited to be here with my, virtual friend, John.
Yeah.
We've never met in person yet.
Until today.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Glad to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited to be able to chat with you today. John is, he's done a lot of great things. He's doing a lot of great things. He's a serial entrepreneur, world traveler, family man. He believes in happiness is a choice. And that's kind of what our episode is going to be wrapped around today, within talking about his journey and what he's done. But he's traveled the globe. He's, lived with intention, and he's always seeking to impact as many lives as possible. And so that's really what resonated me with him and what he was doing. And so I kind of look up to him, from afar online to see what he's doing out there. He's hosted the Mentor Nation podcast, which has been on a pause for a little bit, but a lot of great information in there as well. And so, just super excited to chat with you, John, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here. I mean, thanks for coming here to my place.
Yeah, hosting us in your home.
Made it easy for me.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. That's what we try to do. So, I love, that concept of happiness is a choice. And kind of what led you to having that kind of mindset, that thought behind happiness within your journey?
It's really simple. So it's a very cliche statement,
sure.
Right? Like, happiness is a choice. Like, I think everybody knows that, but knowing that and then living that and actually being able to tap into that when things are falling apart or not going your way is completely different, right? Like, anybody can be happy when you have a great day. But I was actually in the Navy, and I had a pretty amazing experience that even to this day I've never forgotten. Really? We were getting geared up for our first deployment.
Okay.
And so being 21 years old, just the idea of having to go out to sea for 6 months, away from family, away from friends, being on a boat most of the time. Yeah. A lot of us just was kind of depressing. Just the idea of that, being gone from everything for 6 months. And then there's a lot of things happening, talk about war. This is around September 11th. Okay. And so, I just remember complaining all the time about it. I'm like, I don't want to go. This sucks. And I just will never forget this lady. She was on the ship with me. She's like, listen, I want you to come with me on Saturday. And I was like, where? She's like, just trust me. Yeah. Come with me. And so I was like, okay. And so Saturday I met her. She gave me the address, and long story short, we volunteered that day at a children's hospital. Oh. And, just seeing like all these young kids going through chemo and just, it was like crazy. And, I just left that, I was like in tears, and I was just like, man, like, I'm bitching about going out to sea. I'll be making money. I'll get to travel the world. Like, there's these kids that they were all positive. They had a smile on their face. And so like anytime like things fall apart or it's a rough week, I just literally picture that, and I'm like, what am I complaining about? So, again, I just say that to say that, happiness is a choice is like something we all can, it's like a mantra we can all say.
Right.
But you need to be able to like look back at an experience where no matter how bad it is for you, it's so much worse for somebody else, and just be able to shift your perspective. Yeah. So that's what it means to me.
And I love that, and I think right there, perspective, right? You have to, because bad things are going to happen. Things that aren't going according to plan, not how you want them, they're going to happen. Those things are going to come.
For sure.
Sickness, injury, bad things. And so having that anchor, that reminder of, hey, this is happening, but at least, I'm able to walk around today.
Absolutely.
Even the little things. And so I think in entrepreneurship, that's something that I think really would help a lot of people, because it is such a challenge to start a business. And you obviously you've helped lead and start multiple. So what is that journey like, and trying to keep that happiness, that positivity? Because we don't want obviously toxic positivity, right?
Sure.
It's okay to be upset. It's okay to have those rough moments of anger and sadness and the emotions, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you navigate early on in your career as an entrepreneur, when you come from the Navy, did you go right into business? Kind of start us
Yeah,
there.
so after the Navy, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a nuclear engineer in the Navy.
Wow, okay.
I hated engineering. I've always loved people.
Yeah.
I wanted to get as far away from it as I could. So I moved back here. I got a job for 2 months just selling health insurance.
Okay.
Worst job I ever had. And so I actually got called out. This lead came through, and it was like 30 miles away. Nobody wanted to go, so I went and took the lead.
Okay.
And when I got there, it was like this 10,000 square foot custom cabin on like 100 acres. And the whole time, I didn't even want to sell the guy insurance. I'm just like, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you want to do. And I just remember asking him what he did. And he's like, oh, I'm a storm chaser. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, well, whenever a hailstorm or hurricane will hit a city, he's like, I'll go down and I'll either start or buy a small roofing company, and I'll just go and do roofs, and I'll make 2-3 million in a year, and I'll come home, day trade stocks, and wait for the next storm. And I'm like, what? And I kid you not, man, 2 weeks after I met him, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in 2005.
Oh my goodness.
And so I called him, and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm retired, but I know a lot of guys that'll probably go out there and chase this storm. My advice is get a job with a roofing company, learn how to sell roofs. If you're smart and you pay attention, in 6 months you'll learn how to run a company yourself, because it's really easy. And so that's what I did, man. I started in Pensacola, worked for a company, was door knocking. It was really not that hard, just because every home had a tarp on the roof, so it was easy to sell.
Yeah.
Picked up quick what he was doing, and so me and my brother, we started a roofing company about 3 months later in New Orleans, and that was my first entrepreneur experience. We did very, very well. Made more than I'd ever made in my life, but it didn't last long. It just dried up after about a year, and I just, it was just, what's next?
Yeah.
And that kind of led to this back forth. Like, I started many businesses since then. Some failed absolutely miserably, and some have been very successful.
Wow, that's interesting. So solved a problem, and then jumped on an opportunity by either starting your own company, or he would buy roofing companies and then run them.
That's what he would do.
Wow.
That's what he did. Yeah.
And you guys started your how did you navigate that? So you went down there, you started a roofing company, successful, it dried up. How did you manage that? Like, what was your thought? Did you expect it to dry up, or?
No, so I was gonna transition. I was just doing roofs, and then we got into siding, and then gutters, and I was gonna do interiors, but it just got really bad in New Orleans very quickly. After about a year, there's a lot of shoddy contractors ripping off homeowners. So, homeowners were getting smart.
Yeah.
They were like, well, we're not going to pay you until it's all done. Well, you do the work, and they're like, well, we're not going to pay you anyway. And they knew that, there's so much destruction there that the court system was backed up. Everything was backed up. So you couldn't put a lien on their house. So once I was owed like $250,000, I was like, no. So my best friend was getting out of the Navy. I was like, man, let's just go backpack through Europe for a couple months.
Cool.
Let's figure out our next move. And we just, for whatever reason, decided to open up a coffee shop in Las Vegas.
Nice.
And that was like the next business.
How'd that go?
Terrible.
Okay.
I opened it in 2007. I bought one.
Okay.
The recession hit in 2008. I was dumb enough to think that if I kept investing money into, like, maybe if we sell food and turn it into a restaurant, and I just kept throwing all the money I'd made and even borrowed money, and then I ended up losing everything I had made with the roofing company, got into about $250,000 in debt, and then I had a baby on the way. And it was in Vegas. I was thousands of miles away from family. I was in one of the worst markets for the recession ever. So it was like, that was the worst time ever. Yeah. So positivity, happiness was definitely a choice there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a big shift. Roofing, really successful, coffee shop, nothing, and giving everything to it. What was the biggest learning lesson from that coffee shop that you would say you took away from? Well,
the coffee shop was great because it was my first experience where, when I first bought it, it was awesome. We had tons of customers. We'd built this like cult following in Vegas. We had concerts at night, open mic night. So it was my first like real business where it was about community.
Okay.
And relationships, and realizing like you can actually build a brand by just being really cool with everyone.
Yep.
And everyone will come every single day. So it was just really awesome, like just being my first business, because roofing was just transactional.
Sure.
The coffee shop was very community based.
Okay.
And so it was my first lesson in like building community, which I took with me in the last several businesses that we've had, how to build teams and how to like empower people. I learned a lot. Even though that business tanked, it was a great learning lesson.
So with that, like, I'm sure there's a point, was it just that you had no money and you were in debt that you're like, okay, I got to get to the next thing?
Yeah, so, it was just out of desperation.
Yeah.
I kid you not, we had loans. I borrowed money to like turn into a restaurant.
Okay.
So I had to pay those loans back.
Yeah.
And so the coffee shop was making no money. Okay. We had to let all the employees go. So me and my best friend were working from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., I would go get a job being a nightclub promoter in Vegas to make money so that we could like survive.
Right.
So we worked all day in the coffee shop just to try to pay the loans back. And then after 9 p.m., I would go to the strip and promote nightclubs to make money so that we could like eat and just keep going. So yeah, it was terrible.
Wow. I've heard a lot of like successful entrepreneurs like have these similar kind of stories. Like, got a little success and then really hard times, whether it be, recessions, just bad business things, and they had to do whatever it took to keep things going and kind of have that. Do you see the kind of the same thing in the world
for
of
sure. Your first failure teaches you about money.
Yeah.
Like when I had the construction company, we were printing money. I was helping everyone, taking care of family, buying stuff that I shouldn't have been buying. It's just like, when you go from making $3,000 a month in the military for years to, I grew up poor, to making, $100,000 a month, you just, like, you don't really know what to do with it. You don't have the discipline, you don't have the mentality. I didn't know anything about investing. I didn't know anything. And so when you go from there to being absolutely poor, having to eat like eggs and ramen noodles and bread, you're just like, wow, that's when you learn, and the lesson becomes cemented in your head that, okay, like I need to like actually learn what to do for the next time I actually start making money. I can put it somewhere and grow it. And so that was, it was huge, like inflection point at that time.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing because obviously, we're in different levels, we're in different chapters of our journeys, and I've went through that kind of chapter recently of like, I put everything into the business to try to keep growing and enough, for my family we can keep going, but like did what I had to do to try to keep it going early on. And now it's like, okay, now I know better with the money, like where I want to invest, how I can save some up, store some up. Do we really need to go buy all this new gear, or can we suffice with what we have? And just kind of mature, I guess, in an entrepreneur sense. And it's just a crazy thing because I've noticed, and I wonder if you agree, sometimes like as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and those listening probably can agree to this, you have decisions to make, but there's whatever decision you make is not going to be the right, something is going to be wrong.
For sure.
So you have to make the best wrong decision.
Absolutely.
Do you have any stories like that?
There's a mentor of mine taught me a long time ago. It's like, every decision you make is the best decision at that time based on the choices presented in front of you. In hindsight, you can look back and that was a stupid decision. So I made a bunch of great decisions and a bunch of really stupid decisions. So let me know which path you want me to go.
I guess the bad ones, because we learn from those the most, I feel like. So, risk tolerant. Were you already like high risk tolerant?
Yeah. So I grew up dirt poor.
Yeah.
No one in my family has ever had a lot of money, and so I've never cared to be poor. And in fact, now that we have built success, I have a bigger risk tolerance because the best times I've ever had with I have 4 kids. The best times we've ever had was when we were living in an apartment and, we'd have one big mattress in the living room and we just all watch movies. The bigger the house, now my kids want their own bedroom and their own space. And like, I kid you not, man, I could give a shit. I could go back to being in an apartment. I don't care. I could not have the house because I had some of the best times when all of the family, the kids, we were in a small confined space. So I've always had a big risk tolerance, but believe it or not,
keeps growing.
It continues to grow because I'm smart about it.
Yep.
But the actual, I don't mean I'm just all about making dumb decisions. I just mean they're all calculated, but I'm never afraid to go back to being broke. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me at all.
Yeah, because you could build again. You could
absolutely.
You'd figure it out.
For sure. For sure.
Now I'm curious with that, as you grew and you started having the success in the finance and monetary things and material things, did you have any pushback from family? Because you said you grew up without money, poor. Was there any negativity that came from family because you had money?
My family's super supportive.
That's awesome.
They're awesome. They're happy for me.
Yeah.
Broke, wealthy, we go on annual vacations and I pay for everything and we have the best time.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome. But
that's great, 'cause you hear
the whole
stories.
crabs in a barrel thing.
Right.
I thankfully do not have that
That's
family. My family has always they've wanted me to succeed. So.
That's great. That's always, you never know. And that could make it even harder, right?
Yeah.
Then you really, really would be on an island almost if your family was like trying to pull you back down. So that's cool that you have that support system. And so as you've been growing, now you have multiple businesses now, blinds. What are some of the others you have?
So we own a large preschool.
Okay.
We own a med spa,
Cool.
A boutique med spa. I own a window treatment company. And then we have several short-term rentals, commercial property, residential property. Yeah,
a lot going on.
Almost enough.
Yeah. So
and then a few investments.
Do you see with all those businesses that the structure is fairly similar in growing a business, no matter the market? For the most part?
All of our businesses are completely different. The first one that I ever purchased that was like really successful was the preschool.
Okay.
And I have severe ADHD.
Okay.
And so I'm not and I feel like I could have been more successful if I picked one niche and built it out. But I'm all over the place. I'll build something. When it gets monotonous or boring, I'm like, on to the next, on to the next. And so I like finding problems and then building a better solution than anyone else. And it started with the preschool. I had no business being in the preschool business. I was in marketing and sales, traveling all the time. We had our 8-year-old, Mia, when she was born, we put her in a preschool. And keep in mind, everything I'd ever done, I had to sell. Right. Like, it was uphill battle, like convince, sell, like close. And I just remember we went to put her in a preschool and the lady was so nice. It was here in Franklin. She was just like, we were on a 1-year wait list. Wow. And when we get you in, it's, $300 a week. And I was like, dang. And, and it was just like, that's like a mortgage at the time.
Sure.
And a 1-year wait list. And so we finally got her in. Somebody had canceled and we got her in and they just did a terrible job. And I'll never forget, I just approached the director and I was like, hey, really not happy. Our daughter's coming home filthy. She's like 8 weeks old. It's not like she can move.
Right.
And she just said, totally understand. If you want to find another preschool, you are more than welcome. Didn't try to save us or anything like that. And, most parents would be really pissed off.
Yeah.
But my wheels were turning. I was like, wow, like there are actually businesses out there where you don't have to sell all day. You could just do a good job and have a 1-year wait list, charge a fortune, and you have customers lining around the block. And so I remember when my restaurant folded, I had to move back here. I was broke. I ended up getting a job teaching ballroom dancing off Craigslist, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
And this guy was always, he drove this Ferrari and he would always smoke outside before he went in for his lessons. I just remember, it's like, what do you do? And he's like, I own a chain of preschools.
Wow.
And I remembered that. That was in 2009.
Okay.
We're talking 2015, like years later.
Wow.
Found his name, reached out, was like, hey, thinking about maybe opening up a preschool. Long story short, his wife had passive cancer, so he was offloading all of his preschools, and I caught him just right. I bought his last preschool. Crazy enough.
How crazy is it sometimes that it's just random, quote unquote, timing with things?
Just, it's serendipitous sometimes. Like,
I agree.
It's really crazy.
That is crazy.
But he was hands off. I had done sales and marketing, so I was able to very quickly turn that business around and get it making a lot of money.
Yeah, what'd you do to do that? Like, what was your process?
Well, he was hands off, so the reputation was horrible.
Okay.
And so it was losing kids all the time. When I bought it, there was like 100 kids there.
Okay.
And I just implemented a better culture, let some people go that I thought were toxic, hired new people, was just building a vision and culture, put some incentives out there, worked on the reputation, because the demand was there.
Yeah.
So all we needed to do is let everyone know that there's under new ownership, this is how it is going to be from now on. And so we quickly went from 100 kids to 140 kids.
Wow.
And so that business went from, making like $5,000 a month to making like almost $40,000 a month. And so that was the catalyst, but that taught me a lot. And this is something I really want your listeners to know, because, when I mentor entrepreneurs, I think it's so much smarter in most cases to buy a business than start a business.
Yeah.
Because there's millions of baby boomers retiring every day. They're not so much concerned with money as much as they have great people.
Yep.
They want their people to continue to be taken care of. They want their legacy to continue. That's, when you're older, that's what you want. You want your legacy to continue. Something they spent their whole life building, they don't want it to just go to nothing. Most of their kids don't want the businesses. And so we discovered that after the preschool. And so everything we've done since was we buy businesses and we'll turn them around. We have criteria. And that's just worked out really well for us.
Yeah.
So,
what is that criteria that you look at for a business?
So necessity or luxury.
Okay.
I really try to find businesses where, like, I'll get on Facebook and I'll say, hey, what's a business that customer service sucks, or the response time sucks, or no, they don't communicate well. And you'll find real easy, like, the med spa, it was ran by a chiropractor who shouldn't even been in that space, and it was just, one thing led to another. And then the blind company, I wanted to get into like more of the luxury space, and so I spent a year looking for a business that fit that criteria. Luxury. The preschool, we have like 40 employees. Oh, wow. Okay. I wanted something where it was like a small team, and they could make a lot of money. They're more specialized. Yeah. And so after a year, I found window treatments of all things, blinds, shutters, shades. But that's where we're at now.
That's cool. That's awesome. So obviously, once you have some, you can leverage those assets to gain more, right? Yeah. Kind of high level. How do you get started? Like, I don't have the money in my mind physically to be able to invest in a business if I wanted to. So how do you even get in?
Oh man, so a lot of businesses, you don't have to buy a multi-million-dollar business. Okay. The blind company was millions of dollars I spent to buy that. And I got an SBA loan. Okay. But you have SBA, a lot of these businesses, if you are like, start with a small like $100,000 landscaping business. Okay. The seller will finance all or most of it if you're serious and you're willing to put down some money. Sure. And like, there's so many creative ways around that. Okay. I mean, it's not that hard to start a business. You don't have to buy a business. If you're going to start one, just start with a service-based business. Yep. I mean, I see college kids every summer doing ceiling driveways, concrete coatings. Yep. I mean, anything service-related, you can start tomorrow. My first solo business that I ever started, when I was doing ballroom dancing, I hated it so much that I was like, I have to start something. I started a window cleaning business. Got on YouTube, bought a $50 window cleaning kit, went into a neighborhood. I did door knocking with the roofing company, so I went in there and I would be in one neighborhood for 3 months, and I would make $300-400 a day. That's awesome. Cleaning a big home, inside outside windows, times 5 days, it's like $2,000 a week, $8,000 a month, and you're off 3 days, 2-3 days a week. I mean, it's just, you just have to want to do it.
Yeah, like, exactly.
You just have to want to do it. That's all it takes. So,
cool. And with that, so if you were to buy a business, and obviously like you've done, do you just take a percentage of what the business makes revenue-wise? Do you take equity? How do you kind of structure some of yours? I guess it differs, but
I think really in depth. I mean, I
Yeah.
do it different ways. Some I take disbursements, some I'll
Okay.
pay myself as a W-2 employee,
Okay.
just so I don't have to pay such a huge tax bill at the end
Sure.
of the year. But the lesson here is like a business is only function to me is to make you enough money that you can invest every dollar into something. Because like when you own a business, you're working.
Yep.
Money will work 24 hours a day, right? If I buy a dividend stock, I just bought like a lot of UPS stock and United Health stock, for example. UPS stock has an 8% dividend. 8% on my money every single year. I don't have to do anything for that. The purpose of a business is to generate enough for you to live on. And I always tell like people that, my family and friends, I'm like,
Sure.
don't invest until you're at least making $3,000 a month profit on top of, because it's just, you don't really have enough to invest that would be meaningful unless you want to play the 60 years 401k
Right.
Roth IRA thing. But like, focus on building all of your attention, money on building that business to where you can live your lifestyle and at least have $3,000 a month left over, and you put every penny into something. And it's a whole different conversation on what to invest in. You can, invest in stocks and alternative assets and real estate. I mean, we'll get to that when we get to that. But the whole point is of my businesses, to answer your question, is I just focus on the business. I get it as profitable as possible. I run it as lean as I can so that I can maximize cash flow. And I'm not afraid to reinvest in the business, but I want to maximize it so that I can put every dollar into something in a different bucket, a retirement bucket, an IRA bucket, a real estate bucket, a stock bucket, a crypto bucket. So that's,
and then just it compounds as
absolutely.
as you do it more and more.
And some do better than others. And the idea here is when some investments are doing really well, others suck. But if you're well diversified, something will always be doing really well.
Yeah. And so with that too, on the flip side, when you're in a business and you need to get out, sell it, what are you looking for as indicators of like, okay, now is probably the time I need to start possibly selling this?
We haven't sold a business yet.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we just put good people in place. We take really good care of them. I'm not opposed to selling it, but it's just like, you sell the business, you have a taxable event, you pay this huge amount, you don't get any of the write-offs anymore, and like I originally wanted to buy all these businesses to sell them, but like once you like care about your team and you have employees and you see that they're actually supporting their lifestyle with the business that you own, it's like it makes it hard to sell sometimes. Not that I wouldn't, it's just I find that it's really hard because my team's doing well and they're making money, and selling it would be, I just don't want to have that conversation, to be honest with you. It's just like,
no, that's a good point.
I remember when I bought the blind company, I had to have the conversation with those employees when the seller told them, and I was in the room, and they were like so deflated, and it all worked out. They're all great now, but it was just like, ugh. Just the idea of having to have that conversation.
But so how do you step in and because you have multiple businesses, how do you quote unquote run? Because I'm still in the position of like, I still have to be in the business some, and work on it as well. So how do you manage having multiple businesses so you make sure they're running efficiently?
So every business is a little different. So like preschools in general have high turnover. And a lot of the employees are lower paid. It's just with teachers, you can't pay like a fortune. It's just there's not enough money to do it. And so you have to really invest in your leadership team. You really take care of your director and your assistant director. And if you take care of them and you teach them and you empower them, they will keep the business running. With the blind company, everybody that works there, most of them make 6 figures or more. And so with them, it's just building a really great culture. I'm not a micromanager. I'll just funny story. I don't know hardly anything about window treatments. I don't know how to measure. I don't know what product to recommend. And I do that on purpose because if I do learn all of that, I'll want to start selling it, and I'll start taking certain, like, oh, my friend wants it, I'll go do that, or this big job is, I'll go bid that. Because I don't know how to do it, I have to purposely give everyone on my team all those leads, all those big leads. And so I'm not a micromanager. Culture is really simple. It's just high expectations, you build strong vision, you have an accountability in place, and all of these can be hour-long. I mean, you know that, right?
Yeah.
My mindset every day is how can I make their life better and more lucrative? And I just set the expectation that, Jeff Bezos is my favorite CEO of all time. And every week I play this video for my team. It's just like, there's an interviewer interviewing Jeff Bezos, and he keeps asking him all these hard questions, and every answer Jeff Bezos gives is like, we just obsess over customers. There's no misalignment, just obsess over customers. And, my team knows that, and I just take care of them, and, I can leave for a year if I want, and the business will run on its own.
That's awesome. And I'm sure having systems and processes as well within those teams help.
Yeah, I think they're crucial.
Yeah.
And I am the worst person in the world for systems and processes. Like, I am.
Yeah.
I'll empower people, but I'll hire people that are really good at systems and processes. Like, a lot of people think I'm so bad with it. I'll sit in front of and I'll try to build out a training. I'm like,
right.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
But wherever you're weak, you gotta make sure you hire somebody that's strong.
Yeah.
So
with culture, I know you mentioned culture a lot. What are some ideas you might have for someone who's got a small business, service-based business, to create a good culture within their company? I know you mentioned, maybe giveaways or events or things like that. What are some?
Well, culture always comes down to like values.
Okay. Yeah.
Like whatever you bleed will bleed into other people, right? And so, we obsess over customers. Mm-hmm. Like our core values, where like when I first took over the company, I'm like, listen, window treatments is a boring business. But the thing that will set us apart from everyone else is three things. And I drove this into them every day: communication, response time, and customer service. Yeah. If you think about most service-based business, plumber, HVAC, a lot of times their response time sucks, their communication sucks, and their customer service sucks. And I'm like, if we could just crush in these three areas, and then everything stems from that. It's just like, well, what does customer service mean? What does response time mean? What does communication mean? And so we build systems around those three core values.
Yeah.
And so if you gotta beat it into their head, and then you trust that your team will do it, but you have to like make sure you're willing to have difficult conversations if you notice that somebody is not doing the things that they're supposed to do. But everything culture-wise begins, it's not about incentives, like those are just the little things.
Sure.
Like everything starts from core values.
Yeah.
And you pick which ones you want. There's a million of them.
Yeah.
We boiled ours down to those three. I think, customer service, well, you can add integrity's in there, honesty's in there. So like everything boils down to those three, and those three encompass like a million others. And so those are the three that I wanted to be important. So once I established those core values, we just started focusing on like, okay, this is what we do. And this is how we do it. How can we be better in these three areas? What can we do? And anytime there's a problem or a pain point, we look at it and we're like, okay, how can we improve it? Elon Musk is a great example. Like every week, he asks his team, what's the biggest problem this week?
Yeah.
And he focuses every resource on that. And so every year he solves the 52 biggest problems in his companies. We kind of do the same thing. We're like, where do we have a bottleneck? If we have a pissed off customer for any reason, why? What happened? How can we improve that? And once you just keep driving that in, your team will just naturally, it'll just become a part of their everyday habits.
Yeah.
It's when you start slipping, or if you compromise any of those things as an owner, it'll bleed out into your team 10 times. Like your team will amplify you times 10. And so you have to just monitor how you think and operate, and your team will just be a reflection of that.
That's
always.
a good point. Yeah, definitely looking intrinsically, like your business really can only get to the level that you are as a leader. And the maturity, the leadership values you have and disciplines, because otherwise, I mean, like you said, it bleeds out in your team, and you'll have the negatives come from it.
Absolutely.
With that, and that's like the Musk, the 52 biggest problems in a year. Like, That's a good point, because a lot of times I found us at Elevate doing kind of the same thing in our meetings. Like, all right, here are the issues. Let's try to fix all these instead of focusing on what's the biggest first.
For sure.
And getting that out of the way. I think that's a great thing for a lot of businesses to look at, because there can be so many problems, so many things happening.
Yeah.
That you don't fix any of them because you're trying to fix them all at once.
Yeah, and then, in the future, there's lots of other things to pay attention to. And a lot of these just come with failing, hiring bad people.
Yeah.
You start to develop a mindset in a sense, I think one of the most important skills in the world is learning how to interview somebody and identify whether they'll be a great fit. And you really only can get there by hiring a lot of bad people, and you're scared to let them go or have that conversation, and it's just you just got to do it, and it's super uncomfortable. I mean, there's no advice that I can give in this interview that replaces you just actually getting in the mud and doing it and failing, because I read a lot of books. None of the lessons stick.
Right.
Where a lesson sticks is a personal experience, a disaster that cements it emotionally, and then I really learn the lesson.
Yeah.
I can read every personal growth book, listen to every podcast out there.
Yeah.
But until you're actually in the weeds doing it and you learn those hard lessons, that's where the education comes in.
Yeah. That's so true. The experience definitely resonates more in those lessons. I mean, even interviewing people, I learn from a lot of people, but when I actually go and implement and then mess up, I'm like, oh, dang, okay. So, and I know you travel a lot, talking about learning from other people too. Have you ever had a moment traveling where someone taught you something? Maybe it was just you met someone in a different country and they said something.
Oh man, all the time.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that law is, the law of disassociation. It's just we have this ability in our minds to be able to filter out anything that's not in front of us. It's why we're not overwhelmed and stressed out over kids starving to death in Gaza or in Africa. It's because we have the ability to separate ourselves. But traveling the world really allows you to understand how good we have it here. It goes back to happiness is kind of what the theme of this is there's a saying that the brokest person in the U.S. has it better than any king in 1750 in the 200 years ago.
Right.
No king had air conditioning back then, or penicillin, or the medical breakthroughs. Even the poorest person here has it better than the richest person 200 years ago. So it's traveling and seeing how other people live and survive gives you a really great. So I learn a lot from traveling. Mostly just looking at cultures and how people live, for sure.
Opening up that worldview and bringing it back, and putting that back into even how you're building culture at your businesses. Because we're not necessarily responsible for other people's happiness. How do you, besides just living it out, how do you help build that piece into your culture of businesses of choosing happiness?
Man, I think again it comes back to your team will amplify you. If you're always in a bad mood and you're an asshole and you're grumpy all the time, well, what do you expect your team to be like?
Right.
But I'm always over the top excited. Sometimes it drives my team crazy because they'll come in and they'll be complaining about something. I'm like, dude, that's and I'll tell them a story to give them perspective, and sometimes they don't want to hear that shit. They're just
right.
I don't want to hear it, but they have to nod and be but it's just, you just continue to live that, and once you've been through enough, and your perspective, your happiness, it really is a choice, right? I had a mentor teach me a long time ago, there's no such thing as a bad day. There's a bad moment that you repeat over and over and over that makes it a bad day. You get into a car wreck or a fender bender, it's a bad moment. But what do? First person you see, you're not going to believe what happened today. Had a car wreck. Next person, call your wife, call your brother. So you make it a bad day when it was really just a bad moment. You just continue to relive it over and over and over in your head. So, I try to live that, obviously not perfectly, but some days actually suck. But at least you can come back to that.
Through it. Let's just move on. All right, that one, we made it through at least, and that's a positive. So we keep moving on.
For sure.
Well, John, this has been a fantastic episode. I've really enjoyed chatting with you and just digging into happiness and your journey as an entrepreneur, and everything you've done has been fantastic. I have a couple more questions to round things out, but if people want to learn from you, if they want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
So The last 2 years, I winded the podcast down about a year and a half ago. I had the Mentor Nation podcast. I interviewed a lot of great people. The last year and a half, I've just been in building mode.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't been doing a lot of teaching and content creation and sharing lessons. I'm actually launching that here in a few months. I've already kind of built it out. It's going to be called Uncle Abbas.
Awesome.
Like some of the young people that work for me, they call me Uncle Abbas. That's my last name.
Yep.
And so I'm going to create that so that I can start giving back more, which I have not been doing. Because sometimes when your blinders are on and you're building and you're growing and you're focused on something, you can't do 100 things.
Right.
And so I would say, honestly, there's not a great place to follow me right now.
Sure.
I mean, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, but mostly right now it's just family posting pics and
right.
stuff like that. But I would say start with Instagram or Facebook, because here in about 2-3 months, I am going to start creating a lot more content geared toward, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs,
That's awesome.
people wanting to know how to like juggle family while running a bunch of businesses and investing at the same time. We've kind of got a lot of that figured out, thankfully.
That's awesome.
People think I work all the time. I'll tell you what most people are really shocked to know. I'm home every day by 3 o'clock.
That's awesome.
And I'm with family from 3 all the way until bedtime.
That's awesome.
I take our kids to practice and soccer and everything. So
Cool.
people are like, how do you juggle it all? I'm like, you'd be surprised. We just have great people.
Yeah.
And we learn how to build great people. And that's how we can do what we need to do. 3 o'clock, I'm home almost every single day.
It's all about the people.
Absolutely.
All about the people. That's cool. So, again, everyone, make sure you get connected with them, especially if you're running a business or starting one, so you can get ready to learn from them. It's going to be amazing stuff he puts out there. So I'm excited for that. But John, we know you like to travel. I know you like movies. What's the most recent movie you've seen that you've really enjoyed?
Oh man, the most recent.
I know you're building, so it might be
it's
not
crazy.
recent, but
I feel like they're not making great movies anymore.
Right.
Like shows are where it's at.
yeah,
right now.
you got a show we're watching?
Oh man, we just finished Mayor of Kingstown's great.
Okay.
Day of the Jackals,
Okay.
great.
I've seen that one.
There's some great shows out there, but movies, I've just been disappointed. I haven't seen a movie that's just like blown me away. I mean, Dune was pretty good.
Okay.
I like that, but nothing. Interstellar is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
but
that was a good one for sure. So, on the traveling side, is there anywhere you're still like bucket list place you haven't been yet that you're hoping to get to?
Man, my favorite place in the world is Iceland. I've been, and I'm going back in 2 weeks.
Oh,
so
nice.
Iceland, the best place
Really?
I've been all over the world.
How come?
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you could be like, unlike Rome, where you're, in the Vatican, and there's 50 million people everywhere. You could be like in front of the biggest waterfall in Europe, and you're the only person there. There's no one. And it's just like, there's not a lot of people. I mean, the city there are, but when you get outside of that, it's like a dreamland. And every 40 miles, it feels like you're on a different planet.
Really?
Like every 40, 50, you could feel like you're on the moon in 1 minute, and then in like New Zealand, it's amazing, man.
That sounds awesome.
So,
definitely on my list. I have not got there yet. So.
Flights from Nashville, $400 round trip.
Really?
Non-stop flights.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
no
really
reason
good
not to go.
No, that's great to know.
So
yeah, that's
definitely
I'll have to get there for sure. So, and then last one. Yeah. This life ends for all of us. So at the end of our life, or end of your life here on Earth, everything you've done is gone, erased, except one thing. What would you want that one thing to be that people remember from you?
So man, I have a funny, and it's very counterintuitive, but I actually don't believe in any of that.
Okay.
Most of the most famous actors from 100 years ago, almost nobody remembers them, right?
Yep.
I believe that your legacy is the butterfly effect, the things that you do that you'll never know. Yeah. Like, I believe that building something for some legacy that will be remembered is completely stupid. Just me personally, because it's like, in 100 years and 200 years, no one will know, no one will care, no one will remember. Right. In fact, in 50 years, no one will care. So it's like your legacy is what you do every day that reverberates through the people that you come in contact with, because you'll never know what your legacy is. Like, you can meet someone, empower them, they could go on to do something, and then their 5th grandkid down the road becomes the president because of something you did so like my legacy is just do the best that you can, be an example, and don't worry about legacy because you're not going to know what your legacy is anyway. We're all so intertwined. It's just some butterfly effect that you'll never even be able to like grasp the impact that you'll make 500 years from now. So just be a good person.
I love it.
So
I do love that though. That's a great reminder that what you do right now, you might not see the ripples where they go, but you'll make them.
Yeah, I can't remember what the author was, but it's like one of the most famous authors ever lived. Like he sold like 300 books in his lifetime, and then when he died, like is when he became famous. Everybody it was one of the most famous books ever written. I can't remember what it was. I read it the other day.
Okay.
But it's just like he died poor, broke,
Yep.
and a failure because everyone hated his book. And then 100 years later, it became like a phenomenon.
Wow.
You know, it's just like, don't worry about legacy.
That's cool. That's a great point. I love that. So again, John, thanks so much for being on the Elevate Media Podcast today.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you're listening, if you're starting a business or know someone who is, make sure you share this episode with someone so we can help them as well, so they can listen and learn from John. And then make sure you're following the show. That just helps us keep this thing going. We're coming up on 500 episodes, and with you doing that, we get to help a lot more people. So it's been quite the journey. So
follow the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Until next time, continue to go out there, elevate your life, elevate your brand, and we'll talk to you again soon.